Everything that didn't go well before these big shifts and changes came, they're not going to be better when everybody is triggered, when everybody is in shock, in denial, in anger, or in depression. You see what I'm saying? This isn't going to get easier. So you really need to make a conscious effort with yourself. This is a communication with yourself, a communing with yourself, where you say, my authentic self tells me that this is not sustainable. What more do you need to wake up? Welcome, everybody, to our daily Sacred Self. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy coach guiding people and assisting people through transitions and changes in life. Today, we will do our Friday energy update, looking into the energies of the next week, 21st till the 27th of August 21. Welcome, everybody, for coming to this beautiful life event that we started now almost a year and a half ago, assisting people dealing with some of these aspects of your daily life that are maybe more difficult to talk about. The energies for week 35, starting tomorrow, are interesting, and you're gonna need a lot of focus for this. Yes, just a quick note for all of you. Thank you, Kirk, for being here in video. You don't see anybody else because people know that when I record the energy update, they're gonna end up on YouTube. So
That's fine.
if you are okay with this, I am totally okay with this. Just to protect your privacy here. Anyway, the energies of week 35 next week are heavily influenced by this powerful full moon that is happening here over the weekend, to be precise, Sunday morning. Also the timing of our monthly free energy session called Connect with Your True Self. So if you are interested in experiencing this connection within, then look at the description in the video. What does this full moon bring in? Now, I'm not an astrologer, so I'm not going to talk about general aspects of lunar cycles, but I want to let you know that I can clearly see the connection or the correlation with lunar cycles. And whenever we have a full moon, there is something that is being brought to closure, something that is being reviewed, something that we can better see, that we were supposed to learn or become aware of. And it always refers back to the last cycle, so the last months. There's a lot we could learn. And right now, especially today and tomorrow, is a really, really good time. It's under a good star, if you will, for shift and change. For us personally, if we are fully present and if we are embracing changes, if our attitude and our worldview is focused on growth, this will be a really good time here to start something new, because these full moon energies allow us to clear things out, fears around certain topics, or confusions, or not being able to actually see how some things are really not good for us. Now, you can imagine when we suddenly become aware of things that we previously couldn't see or didn't want to see, this doesn't always go over well with ourselves. There are these stages of acceptance that you're probably familiar with, shock, denial, anger, depression, and then finally acceptance. And beyond acceptance then comes higher vibratory solution finding, communicating, revisiting, correcting. And As this is going on, it can trigger things in us, all right? It can, make us feel powerless. It can trigger these different stages in us that may remind us of traumas in the past. We all have inner child states that are stored in us as sort of these hardwired knee-jerk reactions to things. And we've been talking about this a lot. There is this trauma conditioning that we've all been experiencing, especially since the corona situation, where many of us get triggered into pure survival mode. And pure survival mode, from a neurological, psychological, and energetic point of view, means that you are not in full capability, you're not in full access of all your higher thinking, your higher feeling and decision making. Now, many of us, if we have been having a life where we got used to toxic work situations or difficult relationships, or where we've kind of normalized trauma, we've kind of gotten used to us feeling like a doormat, or us feeling like unheard, or not belonging, or powerless to change something. You might not even realize this, that you are in survival mode, because your entire life may have been survival mode since your childhood. Those of us who experience something like a comfort zone, the good life, before Corona, you can clearly say that, all these shifts and changes that came with the global situation here have severely impacted your life. And many of you have experienced losses or, dramas around this, maybe the loss of a job, or simple things like your kids not being able to go to school and your kids suffering from this, or, friends that you have suffering from physical health challenges. And all that can contribute to things being triggered in you that zoom you back to a place in your life where you've experienced something like survival mode before. And when it comes to our inner child triggers, the problem with those are that when these survival things happened first in our life, we came up with some kind of coping for it. We maybe hid, or we withdrew, or we rebelled, or we sort of numbed ourselves down so that it wouldn't be so painful, or we suppressed the memory of these things. In short, when we were children, we didn't really have as many ways of healthy coping. We had to resort to something that was capable or able to us at the time. So if you think back of a family situation, maybe when you were 4 years old and you felt that your siblings were, they received more love or more privileges, or if you've experienced something in school, maybe you were 7 or 8 years old and you felt shamed and laughed about it, or made fun of, or bullied. Or if you think of situations when you were a teenager and you felt you didn't fit in, or you suffered from peer pressure, or you suffered from some kind of, exclusion, where you felt like, you're not good enough and there's nothing you can do about this. When these things get triggered in you, and this happens through this survival mode that we all are experiencing in these days, we tend to go back to the coping mechanisms that we had at the time. And the difficulty with this is that these coping mechanisms, that they are often not appropriate anymore, because we are adults today and we have entirely different ways of dealing with things. We can talk to people, we can negotiate, we can set and enforce boundaries. we can quit our job, we can get divorced, we can move to a different place, we can work with our children, we can go to a therapist, we can form strategies. We have so many more options as an adult than we had as a child, which when this inner child place is triggered, is hard for us to access. So a big part of this coming week's energy is for us to really graduate from this knee-jerk response and consciously, become more aware of actually what we're doing here, and is this even conducive? Is this even leading me to growth? Duck and cover, or watching Netflix and eating ice cream, or engaging in some other maybe substances, or things that are just sort of getting us by, or toughing through things and neglecting our own self-care. Those are not strategies that help us to grow, that help us to stay healthy, really. Okay, so what we need to learn here is to bridge this, to recognize that there are things triggered in us that we are not fully aware of. And this could be anything such as repressing our anger. For most of us in the Western world, and especially if we are female, expressing anger is not socially accepted. There's all kinds of shamey memes around this, like the Karens, right? Where women are portrayed as like, witches or wrathful, devils or demons or something. And the same for men. For male, it is still difficult here in our societies to express, when something is really not acceptable. And so we all have to learn to deal with some of these revelations that we are becoming aware of, whether it's pertaining ourselves or society or the world at large or the planet or, the corona situations. We have to deal with this in a more adult way if we want to, grow through it. And I said something in the August forecast. I said, August is a month where you can graduate. You're going to get some tests along the way. I called them graduation gifts, in a way to frame this positively for you. So I want to give you some hands-on energy tips here, how you can deal with things that come to your awareness that are shocking for you and where it's maybe difficult for you to make sense of them. So before you get pulled into your unconscious coping mechanisms, I want you to do a few things. First, I want to point out that all these triggers that I mentioned, that they are hardwired into your nervous system. So it is very, very human to have these kind of knee-jerk reactions, all right? So there's no need for you to judge yourself because you, watch Netflix, or you do things that are not good for you, or you stay in relationships that are not healthy for you, or you work in an environment that is bullying or, toxic in some way, or you deal with your family that is just dumping all their stuff, all their hidden stuff, or their manipulation or their fears onto you. Okay, these have to do these survival triggers. They have to do with our nervous system. And right now, guys, this is something that I see literally globally, that we are overstimulated in our vagal response. Our vagus nerve, you've heard me talk about this before, is responsible for many, many things, lots of physical functions, such as dilation of our blood vessels, but also relaxation and calming ourselves down. It's linked to our breathing. This is the reason why any kind of coach or therapist who is familiar with mindfulness will recommend breathing techniques, because breathing is the fastest way to calm your vagus nerve or to stimulate it, depending on which side of these coping mechanisms you tend to end up in. We see some of us end up in flight, some of us end up in fight, and some of us end up in fawning and just sort of checking out. And when our vagal system, when our parasympathetic nervous system is overstimulated, it's no longer able to regulate itself. It needs us, it needs our awareness, our action, all right, to do this for us. We have a wonderful body. We have wonderful systems in our body that can help us, going into a calmer, in a more grounded, more balanced place, and helping us, to think more clearly, to feel more clearly, and to make sense of things, or to give things a purpose. So these are the tips that I have for you. They always, of course, here within this whole sort of self-growth and a self-connection theme, start with your awareness, okay? You're gonna have to really be willing to work with these triggers. You're gonna have to look at them, and you're gonna have to take a moment, and this really just takes a moment of present moment awareness, of loving present moment awareness, without all these critical inner voices that immediately judge you or criticize you, where you can just go in like, whoa, I'm really triggered right now, or whoa, I can really feel anger in me coming up, or I woke up this morning with this, I'm like, whoa, I'm like really grumpy, I'm really angry. So to just simply acknowledge that, when you feel fear, when you just want to check out, when your day becomes just a row of chores and things that you have to do, and where all you can think of is getting by or surviving your day, okay? You need to make this aware to you. You need to be willing to have that awareness that allows you to even see this, okay? And if you can, try to relate this to a time or a space in your life when you actually experience trauma, when, what this reminds you of, when you experience something that is brought forward now, without you being fully aware of it. If trauma happened to you before the age of 5 or 6, it's very difficult to recall it in context. So it's not really a thinking thing. It's more like a feeling thing. If you feel that your workplace is non-integrous, or if there's bullying going on, if you're being pressured to do something against your will, what does this remind you of? And become aware of the connection here. Make that connection. Oh, that reminds me of that one kid in first grade that always seemed to bully me if I didn't do what he wanted. Chances are that your coping mechanisms today as an adult are the same that you had at the time. And you will maybe become able to see through your own sort of blind spot a little more clearly. So you have to have the willingness to make these connections and to see this. This is the full moon energy, guys. Second is you need to look at what is different today. I mean, I'm a grown-up today. I have a voice. I have rights. I have privileges. Yes, I also have responsibilities. But there is something that I can do today. I am not helpless. I am not a victim. All right. I can inform myself. I can educate myself. I can Google things. I can talk to other people in situations like that. And of course, I can seek the help of coaches or therapists, that can inform me about the options that I have, the support structures that are out there. Thirdly, I would like to recommend to you that you realize that when you are stuck in a blind spot or stuck in something being triggered in you, like an unhealthy coping mechanism, make a physical shift. Do some kind of physical action, all right? Even if it's just like, pounding your fist on the table or screaming in the pillow, or preferably, obviously, something that doesn't harm other people. If you have to rip an old t-shirt, or, I don't know, throw a rock into a lake, or, kick your door frame, all right? Something that wakes up your nervous system, like a reset. I found that for many of us, especially males, something that has to do with exercise, impact-based exercise, such as, even jump rope, chopping wood. I noticed that for males, but this works for females too. I cannot tell you how much I love my leaf blower, but working with power tools, all right, where you get this like, all right, can help to release a lot of these stored or pent up energies. Other things are martial arts. You know this. I'm a huge fan of martial arts, kickboxing, anything that brings in sort of an impact. But you can also do exercises that you would do in a gym, or running or jumping or something like that. So number 3 is do something physical to reset your nervous system, and to give some initial release to some of these pent up emotions or fears, or whatever it is that you cannot handle. Trauma is, per definition, something that happens to us that overwhelms us to a point where we feel we cannot handle it. Yeah. Fourthly, talk about it. Talk to people who you trust, or who you think might understand really well what you're talking about, or seek a professional, or a self-help group, something like the Sacred Self-Healing Group. We do this here. This is ultimately the purpose of these daily Sacred Self meetings, where we talk and meditate together and literally put all this into action together. And I have a very important announcement about this here at the end of this energy update. And last but not least, number 5, have a strategy, make a plan. Okay, if you've identified that this is a situation, whatever it is, with your family, with your kids, with your husband, with your work, with the environment, with the global pandemic, whatever it is, you need to provide yourself with something like a strategy. All right, first, for most of us, is the no more. I'm done with this. I can't be doing this. This is not sustainable. If I keep staying in this job, or if I keep staying in this relationship, or if I keep living in this place, I'm never ever going to get better. I'm never ever going to thrive or to grow. If I don't change my diet, or if I don't add more exercise to my daily routine, if I don't change anything, all right, this isn't going to get better. This is very, very important, because here you step into your own sense of agency. You may not have the fixes or the solutions yet. You might need other people to help you come up with a feasible strategy, but you have to give yourself at least something like a time frame. Yeah, something like, okay, I'm going to get through this one here, and then I'm going to take a day off, or a weekend off, or I'm going to take an hour every day, or something like that, where I start consciously thinking about doing things differently. Yeah, so setting yourself a date, agreeing or committing to some kind of regular new regimen. You don't have to have the fixes right away. See, this is where many of you get caught. You think that, oh, it's so complex. Oh, what can I change? Blah, blah, blah. It's not even worth trying. No, you got to understand that you are not the inner child anymore that you used to be. You are grown up now. You have different ways of dealing with things. You may just not see how to access them. And that's why I wanted to give you these coaching tips here today, because without this, you're going to really look at a rough time. Okay, the next 6 months to year and a half are not going to be easy, guys. And everything that didn't go well before, these big shifts and changes came, they're not going to be better when everybody is triggered, when everybody is in shock, in denial, in anger, yeah, or in depression. You see what I'm saying? This isn't going to get easier. So you really need to make a conscious effort with yourself. This is a communication with yourself, a communing with yourself, where you say, my authentic self tells me that this is not sustainable. What more do you need to wake up? What can help you to get out of your blind spot? Just a few words here to those of you who are suffering from COVID right now, or who have a family member suffering from, the symptoms of this COVID pandemic. It's not quite clear actually what is that makes us sick, so I don't want to say that it's the virus itself, but I want you to know that there is a lot going on as far as like research is concerned that has nothing to do with vaccines, that has to do with, really finding out and pinpointing what exactly it is that is having or triggering these detrimental responses of our immune system. Yeah, it is known, obviously, that there are so-called comorbidities and things that we weren't maybe aware of before. But they're really working on solutions, and you will have a hard time right now in seeing solutions on the internet because there's a lot of censorship, and I think it's okay to say this without being afraid of being shut down. So you're going to have to actually make an effort to look for things as well. You have to really follow the breadcrumbs, read the studies if you have the capacity, or ask somebody who can read the studies. And I want to give you hope because there's a lot going on, that shows me that there is things that are coming forward that will help all of us. If you are somebody who is a long hauler, if you are somebody who has had COVID and you're experiencing long haul symptoms, there's a cool website called covidlonghaulers.com or .org, I'm not sure, where you can get these information pieces that you need to make the connections. Many of you are not aware that you might be suffering from long haul symptoms, and they're working on medications, on regimens, protocols, and so forth to help you with this. So I don't want you to see that you or see yourself as powerless. There's a lot going on. Then there's a group of you maybe that is still struggling with the decision of whether or not you should get vaccinated. Please, guys, inform yourself. Do you do diligence? Okay, it's of utmost importance that whatever decisions you make right now, that you make them in a conscious way, and that you make them based on this understanding that I have just tried to help you, become aware of, that there are things that you need to review right now and need to graduate from. You need to, if you will, without meaning this in a condescending way, but you need to grow up. You need to grow into your authentic true self right now, because that is needed. Yes, you need to understand why you are here, who you are, to make sense of all of that is going on. And if you can do this, you will realize that you are here for a purpose. And that purpose might just now reveal itself. So many of us, myself included, have searched, have tried, have done so many different things, changed careers, tried things, really fought hard to stay in the self-growth awareness, okay? And now it will become clear to you why you did all these things, what this prompting, this original prompting was that made you wanting to do this, that made you want to do this. I don't know what the correct grammar is here. Yeah, it will be revealed to you if you really go in and take this time and commit yourself to consciously connecting with yourself. And it always starts with breathing and with your body awareness, with your body love, with self-care, and with your willingness to actually face the things that you're seeing. So this concludes the official energy update for week 35. I hope this was helpful. We have a couple of minutes here for you to maybe share, to ask questions. Before we go in experiencing this, does this make you feel empowered? Does this give you something like you can hold on to? Something like, okay, I understand what I need to do. Or does this make you feel more scared? This is the kind of safe place that you need to find where you can share your own thoughts and your own feelings about things without going too much into the content. I don't want to have any political discussions or medical discussions or anything like this. This message here, which is very clear and it's always been the same, is to connect within and connect with another. That is what makes us strong. That is what brings synergy. And to do this, we need to overcome our own blind spots, our own limitations. And they are hidden underneath these triggers, these often childhood traumas.
Good morning, Jona.
Hi.
How are
This is
you?
Carmel.
Carmel.
Hi, Carmel.
Yes.
Carmel from New
Hey,
Zealand.
yeah. Everything that you said this morning is pretty much where I'm at and going through. Feeling, a little bit niggly. I woke up a little bit niggly this morning and anxious and wondering, trying to, I suppose, look back as to where my triggers are, which is quite interesting to hear. The update for this week is pretty much where I am. So it's
all of the above.
nice for the confirmation. It was all of the above.
All right. This tells you, Carmel, that you are probably under an enormous amount of stress, way more than you can handle, which means if we get stressed out on all these different levels, it means that our body, and with it our psyche, and with it also our feeling and our ability to spiritually connect goes out the window. It means that you are in an active trauma response, most likely. So
I think, you're probably right on that one.
did these steps help you to have something like, okay, I can be aware, I can sense that you're aware of these things, like what it actually is that triggers you?
Yes.
Can you say to yourself that you are no longer this kid, this little girl that experienced all this, and that you have different ways today? Can you feel that?
Yes, I can, which is nice. Being able to see it from a different perspective than I have previously. But yeah, it's a good reminder too, when I actually hear it in the updates that, oh, bugger, I'm in that place. So yeah, I need to take a step sideways and review some of the things I can change.
And you're not the only one. But when it comes to releasing, and resetting your own system, okay, this is where most of us get stuck. We don't recognize that it's actually that the simplest way to get our own system, to get that on board, is to do some physical shift, some physical release. Yeah, you probably still think that you have to figure this all out by yourself. You probably
A little bit, yes.
you are all by yourself, like you were when you were a kid. Yeah, this is this typical example of a coping mechanism from childhood, thinking that you're all alone, thinking that you have to figure this all out by yourself. All right?
Mm.
So my suggestion to you is that you come up with something just sort of spiritual, physical first aid. Last week we talked about spiritual first aid. Today I would like to, introduce a physical impact, yelling into your, out the window or punching the pillow or whatever. These things actually help to just sort of get this overwhelming aspect out of your nervous system. Yeah, that's the next thing you can do. And then remind yourself that you don't have to have the perfect fix. You don't need to have the one fix it all solution. You just need to have something like a plan. Okay, today I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'm going to do this, or I'm only going to do this till the end of the month, and then I'm only going to get through this now. Like many of you are dealing with estate planning, with taking care of your elderly parents, taking care of some of these aspects, these legal aspects and family aspects that come up with it. Say yourself, I'm only going to get through this, and when I'm done with this, I'm cutting off my family. I'm done. I don't need this anymore in my life. Yeah. So you don't have to know how to fix all this yet. You just need to know that this is unhealthy for you, it's unsustainable, and you do not see this for your future as, you don't allow this for your future to add so much drama and so much stress and so many triggers in your life anymore. Does this help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmel. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yes, Annette is sharing so you can feel trust. Yeah, trust in yourself, right? Because that's exactly what this is supposed to do. Yeah, to help you to see yourself in or with more sense of agency, which means seeing yourself as being capable and learning to trust yourself again. Astrid is sharing these words, make her remind her that that she's on the right way. Yes, Astrid. Mm-hmm. And we are all much stronger than we think we are. Do you know why? Because when our coping mechanisms from childhood get triggered, we can only show up as good as the kid in us could show up back then. And we're no longer a kid. So you guys notice here, transCODES, we do a lot of inner child integration. Big part of inner child integration is not to change the past or resolve things or fix things. A big part of inner child integration is that we need to connect with our inner child as the adult and allow our inner child to witness the adult, the inner adult. Yeah, and sometimes, the easiest way to do inner child integration is to just hold your inner child and say, hey, I love you, I'm with you, you're not alone. Yeah, sometimes it's as simple as that. We don't have to have like a full, sort of coaching strategy or something. Yes, and Cindy is sharing, accepting that there are no guarantees in anything, right? Yes. And that there is no perfectionism about this. Life isn't about becoming perfect. You know this, right? Life is about tapping into this enormous source of creation, okay, that some call this divine creation, God force, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call this, all right? And it's driven by evolution. And what is evolution? Evolution is the constant growth and the constant self-correction. And self-correction and growth is powered by two major energies. By the impulse, which is represented through the divine masculine energies, and the lovingness, yeah, and the patience to deal with it and see it grow and nurture it. You see? And we have to connect with both of them if we want to tackle that and if we want to get past our inner child things where we kind of got stuck And you see there was a connection also with our mom and dad. I want you to just recognize that all of us had parents that had to deal with their own stuff. We all had, to a certain degree, have insufficient parents, okay? Which means there are things that our parents couldn't teach us. And the inner adult, or the us here, the authentic us today, has to learn to tap into this, all right? And the way this works within yourself on a deeper energetic level is to actually go into this triune union, this trinity of divine masculine, divine feminine, and divine inner child. And that allows you to make peace, that allows you to trust yourself. Again, this allows you to balance yourself and step into your own power. Yes. Thank you guys for this intimate sharing here with all of us. Let's move on to the internalized experience, the inner experience of our true self now. You can turn your video off. You can turn your microphone off. No, actually, I think you need to keep your microphone on to hear the music. I'm turning myself off now. Enough talking. I hope you enjoyed this 20-minute meditation reminding us on how to connect within. I want to make a quick announcement. As some of you may have already noticed, I am celebrating the 10th anniversary on August 28th, 2011. I did the first free Connect with Your True Self transmission. So this transmission here that we are going to do on Sunday morning, 8 a.m. on the 22nd, I'm going to put the sign-up link for you there, and you can share this with others. Yeah, it was the beginning of a journey for me, speaking of right path, that I had no idea where this is leading me to. And to celebrate this with you together, and especially your loyalty and your support over the years, I am offering some specials. If you're seeking assistance or guidance, please check my website or follow the links in the video. And come to our True Self session on Sunday morning to celebrate full moon and 10 years of serving people around the world, helping them connect. Wishing you a wonderful weekend and see you very soon. Bye-bye.